Good morning, everyone. Hi, everyone online. Hi, Marty, Jamie. Got about 5 more minutes probably before we start, so hold tight.
Good morning. Who needs to breathe? Oh, okay. So I think we should just recite the 4 measurables one time, but we're going to pause at the beginning of it and try to bring specific people to mind. And then, so that when we're actually saying the words, we're really trying to radiate that kind of energy out to people. And of course, it can be people you don't know, whatever. That doesn't matter. What matters is we make it really clear in our minds that these are real people with real suffering, kind of thing. And we'll just kind of take a brief pause in between lines. And you can even just not recite them out loud. You can just follow Donna and just, listen and just, but be trying to really picture sending out that energy from your heart to others. And of course, it's not the first thing we say, so you'll probably forget but so will I. So it doesn't matter. Follow Donna. So thank you.
Okay, so we will begin on page 34 in the Gold Prayer Book with Shakyamuni Buddha's mantra 3 times. Deyata Om Mune Mune Maha Munaye Soha. Deyata Om Mune Mune Maha Munaye Soha. Deyata Om Mune Mune Maha Munaye Soha. So still on page 34, we'll have the Medicine Buddha stanza and mantra. Bhagawan with equal compassion for all, whose name when merely heard dispels the suffering of the lower realms, dispeller of disease and the 3 poisons, I prostrate to Medicine Buddha lapis light. Deyata Om Bekanse Bekanse Maha Bekanse Bekanse Raja Samudgate Soha. Deyata Om Bekanse Bekanse Maha Bekanse Bekanse Raja Samudgate Soha. Deyata Om Bekanse Bekanse Maha Bekanse Bekanse Raja Samudgate Soha. Deyata Om Bekanse Bekanse Maha Bekanse Bekanse Raja Samudgate Soha. Deyata Om Bekanse Bekanse Maha Bekanse Bekanse Raja Samudgate Soha. Deyata Om Bekanse Bekanse Maha Bekanse Bekanse Raja Samudgate Soha. Deyata Om Bekanse Bekanse Maha Bekanse Bekanse Raja Samudgate Soha. And now the 4 immeasurables, and we'll remember Venerable Tendron's request that we take a moment and think.
Because I don't know how to shut up. So we really want to bring to mind, so this is an exercise in sending out compassion and love and, joy and equanimity towards friends, enemies, strangers. And it's about trying to develop those qualities of our mind. And so it's there, the teachers, His Holiness says, we really need to start, like you can start with yourself, may I feel these things. But you can, and then you want to, you want to see people in your mind. You bring them to mind. You don't have to actually see them, but bring them to mind, so that the more concrete, it's kind of funny that we made it, but the more it actually transforms our mind. So it's good idea to do it that way. So. Go ahead.
May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends or hatred for enemies. Okay, then we'll go to the bottom of page 37 in the Gold Prayer Book for the Chenrezig verse of praise and mantra, followed by a Greed Tara verse of praise and mantra. Not veiled by any fault, white in color, whose head a perfect Buddha crowns in light, gazing compassionately at all beings, to you, Chenrezig, all-seeing one, I prostrate. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Tari liberates from psychic existence. Tutari liberates from the 8 fears. Ture liberates from all sickness. I prostrate to the liberator, Mother Tara. Om Tari Tu Tari Ture Soha. 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 And now back to page 34 in the Gold Prayer Book. And we'll say the Refuge and Bodhicitta prayer. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings.
I think it's my turn now. So really try to generate a positive motivation for your time spent here today, whatever it is, doesn't mean curiosity, whatever, it's an opportunity for us to really think about, why do I show up to places like this, and if it's because you want to develop your heart, your spiritual path, whatever it is, it's sort of like, you don't do it just for yourself, you do it for other sentient beings. So it's so lovely to just kind of take a moment, and just really say, well, I hope I use my, I intend to use my time well, to listen, to try to understand, to, investigate the teachings kind of thing. And then just, we're having a potluck today, so everybody's busy with chores. So, but so it's just that, really trying to set an intention to use your time well, because, hey, this is the time we got. So we want to use all our time well, not like those expressions like killing time. Not a good idea, So like, as I've discovered, like my summer here is ended. I'm like in shock. So it's just sort of like, I'm a little bit attached to you guys, so it's, and to this place and all that stuff. But what's really wonderful about our heart mind is that I'm also attached to the folks in Florida, that I'll get there and I'll be very happy to see them, just like I was very happy to see you, that's how we are. We're not, we have that capacity, to include a lot of people in our circle of concern and circle of care. And that's a wonderful quality that we share, that's a nice thing. And if we don't dwell on the partings, it makes the, the beginnings or welcomings or whatever you call, what's the opposite of parting? Arriving, meeting, So, You know, it's just, so I'm having to remind myself that of today because I'm partying. So, but of course, I'm also trying to think about, it's amazing where the mind goes. I'm trying to figure out how it is that you can have condensation all over your windows in your car, and then you put your car in reverse, and that little camera that shows you how to reverse is perfectly clear. There's no condensation. I'm going, how does that work? I mean, I really don't know how that works. So, and I'm curious, but what is that? That drive, what is that I'm expressing? I always ask trick questions. What? Well, the fact that our mind likes to know. We want to know, you know? And so it's like, not necessarily useful to know. I can't say there's something particularly useful about that little piece of trivial knowledge. I mean, it's useful if you're the one designing it and building it and all that stuff, because we need you to make it clear and not get condensation. But it's, you know, we want to encourage ourselves to be present for what we can learn that is useful, that is helpful to our relationships, to our interdependence, to our, you know, those of us who think big, who want to become enlightened, you know, so, you know, it's just sort of like, you know, it's not like we just want to gather information. We want to gather information that's helpful to our own hearts, to our way we interact with others, those kinds of things, you know. And knowledge is one of them, certainly, but it's also more like, are we in tune to the people around us? You know, do they need something that I can offer today? Can they, you know, it's that kind of thing. So being able to pick up on those moments of mind where we're interested in something that helps us be, you know, act, speak in the way we want to. You know, the way that, you know, when we think about what kind of person you want to think about, this is, you know, like when you're on your deathbed and you're going, I wish I hadn't spent so much time reading murder mysteries. I wish I hadn't spent, you know, you know, this is the time to do the things that you won't regret at the end of your life when you go, oh, my time's run out. So it's interesting when we take those perspectives, when we stand back and go, really, is this really important? Am I going to care about this 6 months from now? Am I going to care about this tomorrow? Am I going to remember this tomorrow? You know, but our interactions with people, when we touch that, you know, have you ever had, you know, like you have an interaction with a child and you really, they're entirely present for you. And you have that moment where you're just really just clicking, you know, that it's just like, oh, this is a, you know, a human being and we're in the same space and it's a, you know, it's a great feeling. Well, we can create those moments. We don't have to wait for them by being present and really trying to be in tune to each other. I don't know why I'm talking about that, but that's what I'm talking about. So anyway, so what's on your mind? Anybody check in with their mind lately? How's it doing?
Remember, if you're on Zoom, just do a little raise your hand. If you're here in the Kadampa, I'm not sure who has the other microphone. Oh, Chris has it. So we'll have a microphone runner, but do wait for the microphone so that folks online can hear you, and we'll have it on the recording as well. And so if you're right here around me, you can use this microphone. So what's on your mind, anyone?
Or at least just check. And you're not just checking for like an actual thought, but just, you know, how are you? You know, what's your inner experience at this moment? You know, your outer experience might be comfortable or cool or tense.
don't think this is turned up.
You just have to hold it towards your mouth.
There it is. Just this last week and a little bit, from things that you have said and from what Robbie said on Monday night.
What class is going on Monday?
That was Discovering Buddhism.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
I've had a very interesting week in my own head. And I have been, it's really hard to say actually. I've been trying to integrate the fact that what we do here is not so much a religion, it's more a philosophy. And
the label really doesn't matter a whole lot.
Yeah, but
just to throw the devil.
It just did something in my head.
Yeah.
If I can put it that way.
Yeah, I understand that.
It triggered something in my head. And so I've been like, every time I go quiet and just relax, do some meditation, my brain immediately goes back to that concept of not a religion, not a God, not a faith so much, but a philosophy. And it seems to.
And it's a
open to
philosophy
all of
about
us.
what?
A philosophy about living, about to use modern terms, the multiverse.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've been having a very interesting week in my own head.
Well, I hope you're enjoying it and learning and, having those moments where it's not so great.
Oh yeah, had a couple of those too.
So it's a full. This is the thing. When we have these moments of reflection. Oh, by the way, how's those mini breaks going? Anybody set their phone alarm yet? It's amazing, that yes, it's a philosophy, it's also a list of things to do. So it's helpful.
Okay, I found it actually a pretty good app for doing the little mini alarms for like the little just moment to like have a little bit of mindfulness, whatever. And you could set it to like however you want it, every 10 minutes, every hour, and that's been pretty cool. But I also wanted to just like, to Martin, not to be debating or anything, but I don't know if I completely agree with what you were saying.
That's okay.
In a sense that I think it could be whatever you need it to be for you. And I think there are probably millions of people in the world that it is a religion to them, and millions of people that it's just a philosophy without the thought of religion to them. But I think that you shouldn't wrestle in your mind too much. You should try to let that go, and just, if you need it to be a religion at a moment, let it be a religion. If you need it to just be a philosophy for you, let it just be that. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say about it.
Yeah, so we don't have to get in each other's heads, but it's the key is trying to let it settle in your own mind or way about what makes this valuable to you. What's of worth. The levels, like I said, don't matter much. They're just convenient tools to be able to communicate. So, and sometimes we can't really express it to others, what our experiences are. And that's fine too, that words are pretty inadequate when we're trying to convey our inner life, our inner place. But we can convey it in other words. In other words, that's not what I wanted to say at all. Other ways, that's another word. Other ways of just being kind with our speech and our actions, being, thoughtful, being able to just even inquire, just ask, how someone's doing, and then listening to their answer, so it's because sometimes we forget to do that part. And then maybe saying something that conveys that you heard, so that it's not just, what do we even call it? those polite things we do at parties. Small talk or just, well, and sometimes it's not even, I guess it's small talk, but it wouldn't have to be small talk if we were also listening, if you know what I mean. So, yeah,
There's a question from a
Go-
student on
go
Zoom.
for it.
Tara
Tara.
or Tara?
Sarah,
Tara.
hi. It's just something that's been on my mind of I had an ultrasound recently and something showed up that's not very good. They
I'm
know
sorry.
it's not good, but we have to do more tests to see how bad it is. Yesterday, I was fully present up until nighttime. I think it's mentally exhausting to get you think the worst and your mind races to 4,000 different scenarios and it's trying to get back into the present is that's what's been on my mind that's I'm really struggling with. But I will say that the things that scared me before, I'm like, it's no big deal, you know? Um, so it's just how do you keep bringing yourself back? I mean, I guess I know the answer to that question, but it's very challenging when you have something so heavy
Yes.
constantly when you wake up. 2 seconds after you wake up, everything's fine, and then you remember,
Yep.
and you go to bed with it, and you grieve. And you
Yeah.
want to
So
just
let's talk
live so
about
much longer.
that. Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
You have to,
you can want in one hand and, that whole thing. But it's just, yeah, it's coming to terms with things that I've avoided for quite some time.
well, and that's a key piece, is right there, is that when you come back to the present, this might be your present. That you're scared, you're worried, you're, you know, our present moments are not all pleasant. And we have to just be with our feeling, of just, wow, this is a shock. And be, like, okay, and just kind of embrace yourself in that, that wow, and have that self-compassion arise. Wow, this is a scary space. And then, when the moment kind of lifts a little bit, you kind of try to think about the things that you have that are helping you. Like you have resources, you have doctors, or you have loved ones, that you have some support, and that you don't have all the answers yet. And, so you don't need to speculate about of course you will, but you don't need to speculate on all the different scenarios. You can keep coming back to going, wow, this is tough, and not try to race past that part. As tempting as it is, and we need breaks from it as well. But I think sometimes that if we allow ourselves to be there for ourselves when we're in a time of difficulty, then we can notice when it's lifted a bit. And we don't have to keep feeding it with all the different speculations and the worries, so we can take a break for a little while and then be very accepting when it comes back. It's natural that would be a focus that you're going through, So these are, this is the thing about our experience is, life is hard. And we're trying to figure out a way to stay sane amidst what it is, And the good news is there are a lot of good things too. They're nice, they're good actions we can focus on. They're moments of joy with someone else. There's just, we need to focus on those too, not instead of. So of course, we're going to have moments of great grief, of great loss, of great pain, of all these things. And it just, but that's not all it is. We uncover things in difficult times that are valuable to know. So it's just, yeah, go ahead, Elise. He's trying to get there quickly.
Thanks. Many years ago, just before I actually met Kadampa Center, I was going through something really very difficult. It wasn't personal health, but it was really serious. And I understand this feeling when you wake up and that lead weight is on your brain and in your heart, and you just can't get away from it. And I thought my brain was just going to explode. You know, it was just so heavy and just went on and on and on. And then one day I was in the airport and saw a little plaque with a quote from His Holiness, which I think is a quote of Shanti Deva, I'm not sure. But if there's something you can do about it, if you can't do anything about it, why worry? If there's something you can do about it, why worry? Either way, worry just takes the joy from today and doesn't help tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so then I started thinking about that and thought, well, there are some things I just can't change in this situation. So if I can't do anything, I just really have to let it go. And it's not easy, but it's a start. It's a little seed of, like just put that worry aside. And then, is there anything I can do? Well, what can I do today? I can maybe do this little thing or that little thing, but what I can do is maybe I can start preparing for if this really does go south the way it looks like it's going. Is there something I can do to help prepare myself, people around me, and things like that? So that was helpful. And another thing that helped me at that time was, it was always on my brain. It wouldn't leave. It was like every minute I could cooking, going to the bathroom, driving down the street. It was like always in my brain, and it was exhausting. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to, from 6 to 8 p.m., I'm going to do nothing but worry about this problem. And if during the rest of the day, if I find myself worrying, I say, no, it's not time to worry. Just
I made time.
It's on my list. Tonight, I'm going to sit and do nothing but worry. So I would sit down and, okay, now all I'm going to do is worry. And after like 10 minutes, it was like I used up all the worries. So that was just a little trick I used that helped me.
Yeah, and that's it's really interesting to, first of all, give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling, We don't have to elevate it to beyond that. We don't have to make it permanent in a sense, We need to be able to notice, like you said, that, okay, this isn't the time for worry. And this is what I mean by like those moments where you realize it's lifted a little bit. You want to focus on something else. And one of the things that can really help is whatever you have to do, because there'll still be stuff you have to do during the day, stuff, all that kind of stuff, is really try to focus on it. To just, breathe into, whatever it is. And just, because that will allow your mind to rest. Just that, simple focus on whatever it is you're doing. Just, okay, right now I'm walking to go get a glass of water. Right now I'm, calling this person, whatever. It's just really focusing on that and giving yourself permission to step away from what seemingly overwhelming feeling is. And then that's like, my mind's going to explode. Well, it didn't, did it? Oh, what a shocker. I still, when my mom was dying and I was young and I was just, just couldn't believe it. But I also then went, I can't believe people go through this every day. and they survive it, you know. I mean, it's not like it makes your head explode, but it's like, it's a terrible thing to experience, and that's where you can, you know, share some compassion for yourself and all the other people who got the same news, you know, and because now you really understand what that feels like, you know, and that's something valuable you're learning. Sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it's really valuable in the sense of this is what we go through as sentient beings. You know, we experience, you know, really good stuff, really lousy stuff, you know, and people suffer, you know, but we can do our best to infuse our day with things that we find peace with, you know, like whether it's taking a walk or just staring at some flowers or following that butterfly, you know, just, you know, allowing yourself that spaciousness of experience. So it's not just all one thing, you know, and being gentle with ourselves about, there I go again. That's okay. You know, it's going to come back. It's going to, you know, that's what happens. That's what we do. And it makes sense. You know, as a fear rises, breathe into that. I don't know if any of that's helpful, Tara. So, anyway.
Very
I've heard
much so.
you.
Very much so. Thank you.
So it's just, and so these are the, and this is the kind, you know, this is what we can offer each other. You know, is us being able to be present in those moments for each other when when we're going through stuff that's hard, or just, you know, and just be able to listen and really be there. And if there's no one there in that moment, that's when you kind of hug yourself, you know, really support yourself. Okay, don't know what's going to happen, but I'm here right now. I can handle this right now. You know, and when I can't handle it, I'm sorry, I have, from what time is it? From 5 to 7, I'm busy. But, yes, Linda.
Another student on Zoom has
Yeah,
her hand
Laura.
raised. Laura, go ahead.
You're not unmuted.
Okay. Good morning, Venerable Tendron.
Good
Thank you for
morning.
your teachings. I am going to be a little sad missing them. You started off this morning saying, "Where's your mind?" And that's a great place to start every morning, I feel. And personally, I'll share that what has helped me through some really recent difficulties is my intentions.
Yeah.
And looking at my intentions and setting that for my day. Now, it's not always successful, but I feel that if we could accomplish half of what our intentions are, then we're very successful. And personally, lately, it's been recognizing the way for me, okay, is, do I need the compassion? Do I need to take that energy and give myself the compassion? Is that the way? Versus my intentions are to be a benefit. How can I benefit somebody? I have the luxury of, I do ultrasound, Tara, and I'm so fortunate. I'm going to get emotional. I'm sorry. I'm fortunate because I feel we're interconnected, and I have that ability to see that suffering and try to give that connectedness. So that's the way for me personally. It's not a religion. It's where's my mind? What can I do? And I need my self-compassion, and I want to be a benefit. And if I can end my day that way, Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. I mean, this self-care is a vital part of our practice. You know, if we keep ignoring our own needs, our own emotions, whatever it is, it's very hard to be genuinely caring for someone else because we're depleted. And so we do need to nourish that, and taking care of our bodies and taking care of our health is critical. You know, of course we need to do that. And part of that is, when we're going through something very difficult, is to allow our time to feel that, and also allow ourselves time to not feel that. You know, to develop some things that nourish you without having to just go through the worry list. You know, so it's just, I hate that B word, but you know, it's finding that balance of, you know, because sometimes we need to, like when you really need to rest your mind, sometimes it's really helpful to call someone who likes to talk and that you just listen to. You know, that you're not really participating except through listening, so that you can devote all your time to just listening and take your mind off yourself and your own worries, you know? But there are also times where we have to really, really listen to ourselves, you know, and nourish ourselves. Yes, Mark.
Yeah, so speaking on the self-care aspect, I've never been one that is good with self-care, and my concern has always been more about others. But this recent week, as I've reflected back on it, I've been in a lot more of a relaxed state, and it's because I didn't allow my mind to go into situations where fear and worry were the driving forces of my day. And so by not doing that, you know, that was a form of self-care. And what I likened it to is the reconstruction here at the center is also allowing me to reconstruct my mind. So.
Yeah, when we definitely need to keep noticing that, you know, and again, keep working with our mind. Oh, I need some space here, you know, to, before I dive into something else that's really difficult, you know? So it's just, it's stepping back and getting that perspective. It's really helpful at times to step back and kind of see something from maybe your best friend's point of view, you know, just kind of go, okay, if you've run out of advice for yourself, you know, think about what your friends would say to you, you know, to nourish you. So that's really helpful.
This is a little bit of a story, so bear with me, but at one point I had a car that had a broken windshield, and I kept intending to replace the windshield, but never actually got around to it, and eventually I got an entirely new car without a broken windshield. But within weeks I had a broken windshield because I still had the karma for a broken windshield. So even if I got a completely new car, all of a sudden, because of my karma for having a broken windshield, my windshield got broken. So when I find things like that happening, it's like, well, dude, you can get a whole new car, you're still gonna have the karma for this particular thing. Well, maybe some vajrasattvas or some purification practices. You know, it's like, I have this karma. The only way to get rid of this karma is to purify it, or to create new merit, you know, do things that create merit. So eventually, can't tell you when it's going to happen, but you will have used up that karma for a broken windshield, or whatever it is, whatever your problem in your life. Things don't last forever. And eventually that karma will be expired and you will move on to some different problem in your life because that karma will assert itself. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, that is how it happened.
Patty?
That's all.
Tendron Law, I wanted just to
relay an experience this past week that ties directly to one of your suggestions. And so this past week, I was able to go and visit my mother, who lives in Michigan, that I don't get to see frequently, and spend an entire week with her, just the two of us, and how wonderful that was. But in preparing for that week and that experience, I kept telling myself, okay, I'm going to need to be present and focus on her, all my attention on her, and to be prepared to practice patience, because I know I would need a lot of patience, and I would have to be ready to prepare for that and to practice it well. And then the third thing was to listen. And that was the point I wanted to touch on that you had made, is to also be prepared to listen. And so over the course of a week, trying to be connected with her and help her and to take care of some of her needs, and just to do whatever that I could to be with her. I tried to practice that patience. And over the course of the week, several stories came out from her in our discussions that I had never heard of before. And I never knew that side of her, or that she had experienced it and gone through it. And so that was the value that I now have, that those moments and hearing that has enriched my life and our relationship, my relationship with my mom. And so I just wanted to mention how valuable that is. So thank you.
Yeah, and sometimes that person we need to listen to is ourselves, and to really listen. So we need to know what helps us, and we have to sometimes learn. Like we may think, oh, this will help me, this will give me a little bit of space. And then we go and it doesn't give us any space. And you just go, oh, well, okay, cross that off your list of things that are nourishing, so it's, not a big deal. So, and then that acceptance that suffering arises, and it's we don't have other than becoming enlightened, we don't have a cure for that. It's just because that's the nature of our existence. Our bodies are the nature of failing. It's like all the things that we need, food, shelter, can kill us. This is our lot. It's like, oh, you think shelter's going to help you? Well, the next earthquake or tornado, maybe not. It's just, it's food. We get sick from food. It nourishes us. It gives us energy, all this stuff, and it can also kill us. It's like, wow, what a deal. So it's just, but this is the way it is. So it's like being resistant. Like when you think about yourself having, you kind of go, can't I just have one peaceful hour? And since I didn't raise kids, I got a lot more peaceful hours than you guys. But, but we just, that resistance to what is creating more tension. And just being able to, okay, this is what it is. This is where I am this morning. But we don't have to stay stuck or something, think it does, it's because it does, it's impermanent, it changes.
Good morning. I wanted to share because I feel like a lot of what you said this morning really hit me in a very deep and uplifting way, because right now I'm going through a lot. I've personally experienced moments of life versus death with my own health, and by all grace, I'm still here. So I count my blessings. But right now I'm in a situation where my husband and I came from Washington State, which, I had a beautiful life and everything was amazing and wonderful and unfolding for me in such positive ways. But I came to a place here in North Carolina because my elderly mother had a medical condition. So, and when I evaluated the situation, being that I am a physician, I recognized that I needed to be here and support her, right? And act as her advocate in whatever way was possible. But I was not in the place then that I am now. So I was very much in a, I'm giving up all of this victim mentality, this is happening to me, not seeing the blessing of being able to be here with her, right? So I am able to see how my mind has really truly transformed, because that's not what they teach you in medical school, right? At least they didn't teach me that here. And since being here and supporting her, my younger brother has also returned back to the state, and he also has a significant medical problem that I am now also being the caregiver for him. So I am looking at the beautifulness of death, of dying, from a place that I would not be able to see it in my mind had I not been here. Right. So Kadampa has given me a peace that I know I didn't have before. And being able to absorb and tap into the wisdom that is here through the different teachers. And, you have really, again, like I said, you have really spoken to me on deep levels, but being able to read and empty myself from the things that can lead to suffering, right? So that I can be able to experience the joy of life and be present in the moment and meet them wherever they are and enjoy that experience. So I know what Patty was talking about with her mom, because sometimes my mom knows exactly who I am, and sometimes my mom does not. A few weeks back, my brother couldn't walk because his pain and his disease had affected him so. But thankfully, my husband, who's a great partner, supported me. And so, all I know is that I am here, I am alive, I am living, because there is things within me that I am to use to comfort them. And I have that because I am here. And because being here, I have received comfort. And that is something I'm able to give. I can't give what I don't have. And my mind is at peace. So every morning when I wake up, the first thing I am thankful for is the fact that I woke up. Not about anything else, but just the simple fact that I woke up. And then I'm excited because everyone in that household also woke up, regardless of what they experience, of whether they know who I am, of how many medical appointments we have, whatever procedures. I am just excited about the fact that we have life, because I am aware that so many people who are either healthy or younger or older went to bed the night before and they did not wake up. So I stay in that present moment and I empty myself from all the possibility of other things. There's always so many negative things that I could think about, but I really work on always focusing on what am I thankful for and what a blessing life is, and how can I enjoy or do something that makes someone smile today.
Yeah, that's
So thank
lovely. Thanks, everyone, for sharing from the heart. You know, and I think the Buddha's teachings really guide us to that space of understanding that what really leads to peace and happiness and leads us away from suffering is this recognition of our interdependence, the recognition of that we're in it together, you know, that we need help from each other. We need to be able to share things. And one of the things we need to do too is learn how to ask for it, you know, to say, oh, I just need to be held right now. Or I just need to sit with somebody else and sip my coffee and not have to say a word. You know, I just need to, you know, like, okay, I'm not alone in the world, you know, kind of thing. But we just, you know, so these are valuable things to know, you know, and that's our mind's so good at that, if we allow it. You know, is that filling up on why does that rear camera not show condensation? So, you know, I mean, it's just, this is the thing, it's the more we allow ourselves, and it's kind of scary to allow ourselves to just be with this, oh, I'm vulnerable. Oh, and so are you. You know, be with that and be with the, you know, but we are also incredibly capable. You know, you know, we're not the little baby in the crib anymore. You know, we really can not only kind of get to know what our needs are, we have abilities to ask for them. We have the words, we have the language, we have, you know, babies don't have that, so they scream a lot. So it's, you know, we have something, you know, a little, it may not get other people's attention quite as quite, you know, as that baby on the plane. But it's, you know, it's just, we really have a lot of tools, and we so often are aiming them in a direction that's not, in the long run, ain't gonna do much for us, you know? So it's, you know, we sort of like, we want to be able to give with whatever the circumstances, you know, so like for work, we want to give to our work, so we're doing a good job, so that we, you know, so we feel good about ourselves doing that job, so all those kind of things. When we're at home, we want to be there with our families, with our friends, you know, whatever it is. But that, you know, all we've got is this moment. So we want to use each moment as well as we can, you know, and figure it out. You know? So it's just, staying open to what is possible right now, not down the road, you know. So it's being able to just see, you know, okay, what's possible today, maybe tomorrow, you know. So, phew, all this hard stuff. Everybody ready to build a fort? I'm just sitting here to enjoy this moment of just, you know, the interconnectedness of people. It's a cool thing that we share. So what gets in our way?
I really hate talking.
Yeah, I can tell. Me too.
The one thing that gets in our way is who we think we are in our own heads.
Oh, that's the one thing. Does anybody have anything else we can add to that list?
Since nothing exists except what we perceive. It's
Well, I'm
only-
not sure I agree quite with that statement, but everything exists in the way we, it exists for us, the way we perceive it. Our perception really affects our experience, our filters, all that kind of stuff.
Our filters, our
ignorance.
paradigms, whatever you want to call them.
What else gets in our way? I mean, what's more immediate than that? Like a real experience. What comes up in your head? Like if someone needs you, what comes up in your head?
Could it be judgments? Like our immediate judging something as good or bad, right or wrong?
Could it be that? Does that ever come up in your head? Do you ever actually kind of go some other direction because you're afraid that if you bump into that person, they're going to ask you for something? You know? Or we're just kind of like, I'm sorry, I don't want to give. So what we want to try to be able to do is when we have moments like that, let's let someone else talk. When we want to when we do that kind of thing, what is it that we're guarding? He's getting his workout.
I gotta wear grippy socks.
Good thing to learn.
Just sort of self-centeredness, like if I do that, there's not enough for me. What about these other things I have to do?
Okay. Yeah, so how can we reframe that?
So if, in the particular instance of someone asking
something
for
like
just
that. Where this,
what stops us from being open and connected?
no, just what stops us? What this mind that goes, oh, I don't want to bump into this person because that's building a wall, right?
Right.
I don't want to see this person. So how can we look at the situation slightly differently that allows us to say no to helping if that's appropriate, but without that feeling when you see the person? There, we got someone who has a suggestion.
Someone has an idea.
See, everybody has legs, if you can use them, feel free.
Well, I guess we could try to understand that if we feel a disgusting feeling when we're in the presence of the other person, that's because we don't get happiness from that interaction. We want happiness, but instead of that, we get a disgusting feeling. So if we analyze that, we might find out that the other person might be a teacher that is trying to show something that we might not be prepared to see. And if we look at that interaction as me trying to learn something, instead of me trying to feel good and happy all the time, then we might reverse how we approach it, I would say.
Well, I think, one of the ways we can also look at it is, okay, that can be a moment instead of other disgust, like, oh, please, is I need something here. I need the space to say no. Go ahead, Erin.
Yeah, I guess for me, it just kind of starts with like a letting go or an analyzing of what's triggering that, what's making me feel like I don't want to have that interaction. It might be uncomfortable. It might be this, it might be that. So just a little analysis of like, is that even true?
Yeah.
What story have I made up?
Yes.
And it's usually all made up, right? Like,
Well,
it's
how can
kind
it
of-
be otherwise? You
Yeah.
haven't even met, you haven't bumped into them yet.
Right, exactly. All the things that you are expecting. So you just kind of a quick, and sometimes there's something under there like, oh, now I realize that it's this other thing I'm worried about, or this other thing that is causing this reaction. Like, I personally tend to, if I'm worried about X, try to control Y. You know, like, I'll just go, you know, something's
so
going
that
on in the
certainly
back
gets
of
in
my
the way, doesn't it?
It's so easy. I have 3 people, I have a husband and 2 kids. I can just walk out there and start telling them what to do and start, you know, like, you know, like, well, this is all wrong. So, you know, have a lot of opportunity for that. But it's, you know, generally, yeah, just kind of a letting go.
And I think that's, yeah, it is a general letting go. Like, when I lived in a nuns community, we shared property, you know, we were part of a Buddhist center, so it was also, you know, like this, only there was a nuns community next door. So there were times as a nun, and I wasn't alone, I just have to share that, because I had to protect myself, you know, where you kind of go, oh, I don't want to, can I walk a different way besides through the bigger community so I don't get pulled in to someone else's stuff, you know? And it's like, oh, and then I thought, okay, you're a human being, you know, sometimes when you see someone, oh, you have that opportunity to finally, you know, get their attention, you do the same thing, you know, so it's not like it's just, you know, oh, please, can't you let a nun, poor me, walk through without needing something, you know. Then you discover, you know, like, oh my goodness, if you just don't see it as your problem, you know, that it's just like, so I learned how to be able to be welcoming to someone and also to say, I have another appointment right now. Can we meet at a different time? You know, I don't have time this moment. You know, so that of course you have to mean that, you know, but you just, instead of trying to avoid them, you just open your heart to them, go, I would like to be able to help you right now, but I don't have time right now. You just admit it. Instead of thinking it's their fault for infringing on my peace, I'm infringing on my peace by thinking that, you know, first of all, people should be able, you should be able to put on, what is it? Like the cloak of invisibility when you're, you know. So it's just, but you can, you know, it's not that your needs are necessarily selfish, because you might be trying to help someone else, you know. It's just that, you know, it's just like inconvenient timing. So it's really about being able to kind of keep looking. You might not be able to in that moment, but to just keep looking to see, you know, okay, you know, how can I be perfectly comfortable saying no? You know? Now, I'm a nun. I'm happy to help. That's my job. And, you know, and when I took the job, I knew that was part of my job. Do I want to do it all the time? No, sorry. I am not a Buddha yet, you know? So there are times when, no, you know, I really don't. But I need to be able to tell the difference between when it's really just self-cherishing, ugly mind that I'm trying to abandon, and when it's that I don't have time, you know, that, or I'm sick, or I'm, you know, whatever it is, and be able to own that. You know, and just be self-accepting, you know, that's, you know, that's going to have to be good enough for this moment because that's where I am at this moment, you know. So it's just, you know, it's giving ourselves that spaciousness, you know. So, and it doesn't take long to acknowledge someone, you know. So, if you don't try to pretend that you have time when you don't have time, there's more space to be kind, you know, to be patient with yourself and the other person, you know. So it's just, and I tell you, you spend a lot less time than you do thinking about another path that you can walk down, you know. You know, some of the things we do are idiotic.
Yeah, I think it circles back to what you're saying about self-care and also knowing yourself, right? Like, as an introvert, I have learned that I do need to just be by myself at times. That's how I refresh, regenerate, am able to be there for others. And if I think that's always going to be taken away from me, that's when I'm on guard and like that. But if I just kind of go, okay, well, this is, to be there for others, I have to have some alone time. Being introverted and highly sensitive is a real thing, and you just kind of nourish that so that you can nourish others. There are extroverts like my husband who will be like, ooh, there's a crowd, I'm gonna go walk into it because that's how I'm going to nourish myself. I'm gonna go just interact with a bunch of people. So appreciate those people too.
Yeah, thank goodness we have both. So, this is the thing. It's using all these skills, so we have this capacity to know, we have this awareness. Well, we can know ourselves and others. And then doing things like what Orlando was saying, where we think, where we take time to reflect, like before you say you have a busy work day and you're thinking about all the things that might come up, that's a time to reflect about how many things have we learned or just enjoyed or just kind of been surprised by that we would have missed if we didn't, interact, or if we didn't, just kind of be open to what might happen, instead of assuming we know what's going to happen. And then so we prevent anything happening, so it's just, really just understanding that we really can discover the teacher in everybody. We really can discover opportunities where we actually have some way to help, because often we can't help, and that simple frustration can get in our way, where we just, because we can't help, we feel like, there's nothing we can provide. Well, we might not be able to fix something, but we might be able to listen. We might not be able to, but we may know someone who can, whatever. I mean, it's just like, but that when we put up this, like, oh, not me, barrier, there are no opportunities there.
I think that we all have experienced that when we go to school, because sometimes we don't like our teachers, but we need to get a degree, or we need to make dad and mom proud, and then we usually just have patience with whatever defects the teacher has, because we see that person as a teacher.
Right.
And then we have patience for that, and most of the students just don't walk away from the classroom if the teacher doesn't talk the way they want, or if the teacher has some sort of defect in how he or she explains things. So seeing somebody else as a teacher actually gives us a lot of patience, naturally. We're conditioned to that in school, but somehow we don't apply that everywhere else in life. It's just when we're in a classroom.
Well, it's because we didn't have a choice. One of the joys of becoming an adult and like graduating from everything is sort of like, I don't have to do that anymore. And we can get really, what we're doing, of course, is forgetting all the good stuff. It actually says, I think, in the Lamrim Chenmo about your teacher, you don't have to like your teacher. They don't have to be entertaining. They don't have to be interesting. They don't have to, what you have to do is listen to the words and then try to reflect on the meaning of the words, so, because all the, monks and nuns are in school all the time, so their classwork continues and continues. So it's just like, it's very interesting, though, how we forget how much opportunity, what we loved about school, and some of us hated most of it. And some of us liked most of it. It really is quite variable, isn't it? So it's just, but it's another opportunity to kind of reflect, what is it that I don't want in this situation? What is it that, I don't mind in this situation? What am I reacting to from within, to want to avoid someone, or to build up a wall, Because we never get what we want when we build walls. It's just not possible. Oh, it's a barrier, because you never know who can help meet your needs. So it's like, you want to stay open. Doesn't mean we don't need to walk away from bad situations where people are abusive or just, it's not about that. It's just being able to be aware that our speculation of how it's going to go is not necessarily so. That we tend to spend all our time guessing about the future, and then making decisions based on a guess. And we're selling our experiences short. How much time do we need? I can keep running my mouth? Okay. I'm going to look at just what I was thinking about saying today. See what the wisdom of His Holiness was. I mean, one of the fortunate things about being able to share in these spaces is that, I know that the teachings are gold. I know how valuable they are because they changed my life. And I'm still, not a Buddha yet. But I'm considerably more at ease in spite of the fact that I'm a nervous person. It's just like cool how you can, get all these little experiences, taste of things. Okay, I forgot what the title of it was. Oh, there it is. Every now and then I think it's really helpful to read, and I may have said this before, if you are reading about reading the teachings, it's helpful to have something that is inspiring in addition to the sort of how-to book, So, it's really nice to get that inspiration, and like things like the Book of Joy with His Holiness and Archbishop Desmond Tutu are just kind of upbeat. Here are these two people went through quite a lot of suffering in their experience and what they did with it. And it has all sorts of, wonderful little comments. So, like His Holiness likes to talk about how it's much better when there's not too much seriousness. Humor, like humility, comes from the same root word for human and humanity. The lowly and sustaining humus, the earth, is the source of all three words. That's kind of fun to know. Well, I won't bring up the subject of forgiveness because it's a little late for that. That was a bigger topic. Next year. Anyway. It's very, it's sort of like, what motivated me was these Sundays was Geshe-la's last talk here on Sunday, where he was so concerned or shared, his concern about our lack of self-love and self-respect and self-concern. And it's like, because I really do think that's where us Westerners kind of start in a different spot. And it's partly because I think, and who cares what I think? Anyway, it's just this, of we grew up with a lot different kinds of parenting and different kinds of structure and everything, and we have this belief that we're kind of flawed, and we're not just flawed, but there's nothing we can do about it. We're almost, we're really flawed. So I don't know how to put it. But so being able to recognize, but we also taught all sorts of good things like being generous and charity and just, helping others. But we forget that the two work together, the self-love and caring for others, that it's the best person to practice on is yourself, and being able to understand the difference between self-indulgence and self-care, being able to understand the difference between being generous to a fault. We have expressions like that. So we know that, okay, it's not about being unmindful about what we do. We really want to be mindful about how we go about things. But everybody, there's no reason to never be kind. We may have to be very firm at the same time, And these things come from a place that doesn't judge the person, but judges the actions. That action's not acceptable. Those words are not acceptable, But we don't say, you can't, you are bad because you said that to me. And of course, if that's how we talk to ourselves, it's natural that that's how we talk to others. If we condemn ourselves, then we condemn others. Instead of understanding that if we had some self-respect, some self-compassion, it's easier to have the words when someone else is mistreating us, where we can put the boundary down about what's acceptable in speech and behavior, but not write the person off as worthless or worse than worthless. We may not be able to have them in our lives at all. But it does, so we need to, that's why practicing self-care, self-respect, developing our self-confidence, that will carry over to how we treat others, But it's just, if we just keep beating ourselves up, it's just so easy that, to lash out at someone else when their speech and their behavior is not so great. And we assume we know what's in their mind, don't we? Instead of just kind of going, oh man, don't know what's going on in their mind, but it can't be good. It's got to be suffering. And have our compassion arise for that. Don't leave yourself out of the picture. So that awareness and really being able to notice, ooh, I just spoke to myself badly. Like I have friends that will say to me, oh, don't talk to my friend like that. When I'm going, oh God, I'm so stupid. And they go, oh, please don't talk to my friend like that. And so it's good to adopt that in your mind, is just kind of go, oh, so-and-so wouldn't say that to me. Maybe I could try it, reframing that. Let's rephrase that into a much kinder, simpler way, So, and it seems, well, we have to know when, that line of self-indulgence, where we have to kind of finally go, oh, get over yourself and go, take out the trash. So it's, we have to find that wisdom in the compassion. So we can set up our own boundaries for the kind of speech and behavior we want to enact. And then that helps train our mind. So that it's more natural to arise to just be loving no matter who is the object, including yourself. Okay. Thank you guys at home. Hugs to everybody. So one disadvantage is Zoom. These robes aren't a big help either. So anyway, okay, thank you very much for sharing part of your life with me and time, and supporting this community, supporting this, even the building, you know, everything is impermanent. So it's really helpful. So, you know, and we have a potluck, so we can, you know, get to know each other a little better and, you know, just have community, you know. So, okay, thanks. We have prayers. We want to rejoice.
We have quick announcements before the prayers.
Oh,
if
sorry, I
that's okay.
forgot that.
Thank you so much, Tendron. We've really appreciated your being here and teaching. It's been wonderful. Tendron's last Sunday teaching is today. However, she is teaching on Wednesday for Lamrim class. So we've got one more. And I wanted to remind everyone that there's a green Tara sand mandala that will be happening at Meredith College, which is just right down the street, here locally at Meredith College. And so on Wednesday, the opening ceremony is at 10, and Elise, correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, basically Geshe Sangpo will be working and creating the sand mandala throughout the day from about 10 in the morning until about 4 in the afternoon or so. And then on Friday at 2, is the closing ceremony, and that's always a lovely opportunity to, you know, really see the impermanence of things, and it's just a beautiful ceremony. So hopefully you can take time out in your day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and stop by Meredith. There's more information online about where it is and a map. So it's at the Kate Center at Meredith College, which again is just right here. And then, let's see, after we do prayers, we'll have an opportunity to offer katas. So just hang tight, and if you didn't bring a kata, that's okay. We've got lots up here, and Sam will hand those out for our kata line. So, all right, that's it.
Okay, if we want to turn to page 246 in the Gold Prayer Book, and we'll say the Shanti Davis dedication prayer. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of our merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may these never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. And now on page 244 is the long life prayer for His Holiness. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. And the next page for Khensa Rinpoche, the one who mastered his speech at a very young age, the one with great patience who received the name Avatare, the one with great precision who spread the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa on bliss and void, Lama, ornament of the yellow hat tradition, please remain until samsara ends. And now on the inside back cover, we have the prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche's swift return. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, You wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, to you I make requests. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. And now inside the front cover, the long life prayers for Geshe Gelik and Geshe Sangpo. Supreme Guide, you lead us on the many paths of virtue. A shining sun, you give us the best of excellent explanations. Supreme virtuous friend, you are a constant Dharma companion. Lama who has renounced fame, may you ever remain. And for Geshe Sangpo, you who have steadfast imprints of virtuous qualities and keep the instructions of the glorious Guru in your heart. You who pass day and night with noble activities, great virtuous friend, may you have a very long life. And now if you'll turn to pages 100 and 101, and we'll offer a short mandala offering. Sajipuki Chukching Metog Tramri Rablingji Nidegen Padi Sangye Jingdu Mikte Uwa Idro Kunam Dak Jingla Chupashog Jetsun Lame Kute Rabten Ching Nam Katrin Le Chok Chur Ge Padang Lo Zong Ten Pe Drun Me Sa Sum Gi Dro We Mun Sel Tak Tu Ne Gyur Chik Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Nirya Tayami. And now we'll chant Tara mantras. Om Tari Tu Re So Ha. 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 Om Tare 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 Tu Re So Ha. Om Tare
Tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Yes.
Thank you at home. Bye. We're going to go eat. So- All right, so this food is a gift to the whole universe, the earth, the sky, hard work, and loving care. May we live in such a way as to be worthy to receive it. It's purified in emptiness because it is empty. Om Mahum, Om Mahum, Om Mahum. Let's make numberless offerings to all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors, direct and indirect lineage lamas, statues, stupas, sanghas, scriptures, the 10 directions of the 3 times, imagining them filled with great bliss. We prostrate to you all. And we make charity of this food to all the beings of the 6 realms. May it transform into exactly what is needed for all temporal and ultimate happiness. Enjoy.
Thank you, Tendron. Thank you, everyone.